Why people can't handle poly relationships. Yeah, I'm up on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m. talking about poly relationships. I think the reason why is because last night I posted something on Instagram, and when you got to answer the comments, it's like when you wake up in the morning, they're right there, like the ones you missed, And I saw a post on Michael Baisden's Facebook page where he was talking about how people are inside of monogamous relationships when they aren't monogamous people. And he was promoting his clubhouse that he's doing later on today at 7 p.m. It's what, December 5th today? I think, yeah, so today is December 5th. He was promoting his polyamory lifestyle Facebook group as well as a clubhouse um, recording that he's going to do later and inviting me on to, talk about my experiences as a polyamorous person. Now, those of you who don't know and are new to my channel, or maybe if you've been my Facebook friend for a long time, you know how I rock. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people are like new to who I am, and welcome for those of you who are new to who I am. But I was polyamorous for about 3 years, and in a polyamorous relationship for about 3 years. But I've been poly since about 2011. And for the past 4 years, I haven't really dated at all. And I've been staying away from relationships since I broke up with my son's father. And celibacy is something that I have been on and off with for such a long time. And there's a difference between celibacy and abstinence. Of course, abstinence is just about you refraining from having sex just because that's like what you want to do. And celibacy has more to do with your spirituality. And that's why I choose celibacy so much. And it's hard. Like, it's been a struggle for me because, I wanted to be in relationships. I wanted to be, like happy with someone who like accepted me and my religion for me. Like, just because I'm Buddhist doesn't mean I'm a Buddhist monk in the mountains who doesn't want to interact with anybody at all. You know what I mean? Like, that's not who I am. I wanted someone to be with for a very long time. And usually when I'm not in a relationship, I don't sleep around. Like, I don't jump from person to person to person. I go through about a celibacy where I'm like celibate for like years. And I've been doing that. But the way that I ended up polyamorous has to do with me kind of being open minded after a relationship I broke. Somebody broke up with me, and somebody cheated. Not somebody broke up with me. That's my son's father. My son's father broke up with me. But, and that was like, what, 2017 he broke up with me. But in 2011, I had just broke off an engagement with someone. I just had a miscarriage, and I caught that person cheating, and I just got tired of like being cheated on so much. And I kept saying, why in the world do I keep getting cheated on? Yeah, I'll have like this big ass engagement ring on, and we'll be like, making arrangements to be married or whatever. But why do I still keep getting cheated on by these dudes? And it wasn't the act of them being with another woman that was bothering me. What was bothering me was that they weren't being vocal and honest about it. And so when I decided to like just go out there and just let things flow the way it should flow, I ran into somebody who was already poly and put me on to a lifestyle that was very different from what I had been seeing, other men do. Because other men had lied. They just kept lying so much. And this one man was like, listen, I'm with someone, know, like we have like quote unquote open situation, and I was thinking, okay, well, I appreciate you being honest with me. But he was just like very like protective over his situation with her and wanting to keep her separate. What could I do other than respect the fact that the man that came to me and told the truth, right? I was like, God, okay, good. And so during that time, I just felt comfortable with whatever was happening, whether he was dating other people, whether he was married, whether he had more than one woman, wasn't my concern. My biggest concern with him was him being honest with me. And so after I went through that stage of my life and I started meeting other people who were also in like polyamorous or polygamous situations, I felt extremely, like optimistic because I saw so many other couples have like these healthy arrangements, and it was like so drama free. And I was like, why? Like when you've been like raised to do monogamy and then you turn around and you see people poly, it's like a culture shock. You just sit there and you're like, what? People actually do this? And a lot of people turn their nose up at polyamory and then turn around and be inside of a monogamous relationship and then cheat on someone. I've seen people do that. We've all seen people do that. But it makes more sense if you're the type of person you want more than one partner to just say, hey, you know what? I want to be in an open situation. This is just the stage I'm in my life. I'm not going to steal your choice because I care enough about you to not put limitations on you, as a person. Like when you genuinely care about somebody, whether you're male or female, if you're the type of person to juggle a whole bunch of people, it doesn't make any sense for you to meet someone claim that wants monogamy and then claim that you are a monogamous person and then turn around and hurt that person and lie to that person and cheat. And I said this on Michael Baisden's Facebook page that yeah, I'm a polyamorous person and I can choose to be monogamous if that's the arrangement that we have with each other. That's not the problem. The problem is that a lot of people don't stick to the arrangement that they claim they want to have with someone, especially when it comes to monogamy. And it's like to openly say that you want more than one partner or that you want to sleep with more than one person is frowned upon by so many people, and these people are the same people who would cheat on the person that they're with. It's like, why would you turn your nose up at being honest about being that type of person versus you hiding it and pretending that you're monogamous and going around and sleeping with other people? And men do this all of the time. And I think it's kind of selfish that men want to be able to juggle as many women as they want to, and they want to be able to do, and have all of this variety in their life, but they don't want their women to do too much anything. Like a lot of men cannot handle seeing their woman be with somebody else. And it's just like, to me, that has a lot to do with insecurity, a lot to do with jealousy. And those are the two things that you can't have if you're inside of a poly situation. Like you can't be an insecure person. You got to be able to trust the person that you're with. And trusting them is actually pretty easy when they're honest about who they're dealing with. Like I think people think if they interact with someone who wants more than one partner or who wants to commit to more than one partner, it'll dim the light of their specific relationship. And they're so fearful of that. But what you have to understand is each connection that you have with a person is different. Like if you have a connection with, I don't know, Teresa, right? And you're dating Teresa and you and Teresa are having a good time. And then you turn around and you meet Stephanie. Stephanie and you and Stephanie have a completely different connection and interaction with each other. They're not identical at all. And if you enjoy Stephanie's company, it doesn't mean you enjoy Teresa's company any less. They're two different types of people. You can't compare those two types of people because they bring two different types of things into your life. So when we're talking about men wanting variety, if Teresa and Stephanie both know what's up, it brings a more drama-free situation. The drama comes when two people aren't clear about what's happening. Like you got Teresa thinking she the only one, and then she turn around and catch you with Stephanie. That's betrayal. That's a lie. That's what hurts a woman. But if you say to Teresa, listen, I like you, Teresa, but there's also some things I like about Stephanie, and I want to hang out with both of y'all, and let me know how that goes. If you don't want to do that, then that's fine, but that's where I am in my life. You can't steal other people's choices. Polyamory is basically about you saying that. Like, listen, I want to be committed to you, but I also want to include Stephanie inside of the relationship, Teresa. And if Teresa can't handle it, Teresa can choose to not be in the situation. You understand? But men don't want that. They automatically assume they're going to meet women who aren't going to feel comfortable with the polyamory lifestyle or polyamorous lifestyle. And honestly, there are plenty of women that feel comfortable with that lifestyle, especially nowadays. I think maybe back in 2011, when I decided to become polyamorous, it may have been difficult for people to admit that they were poly, because of course secretly people were moving like polyamorous people, but weren't necessarily having the ethics or honesty associated with being poly. They were just sleeping around with a whole bunch of people. And I try to explain to everybody that polyamory and promiscuity are not the same things. That they're not the same things at all. Promiscuity is about having an open, relationship, not even a relationship. You just want to sleep around with a whole bunch of people. I saw a guy on my Instagram profile. He said that the polyamorous lifestyle reminds him of a herpes community, right? Where they're passing around a whole bunch of herpes. Well, even inside of a monogamous relationship, you can get an STD if you are monogamous to your partner and your partner decides to cheat on you. Okay, it's plenty of people who have been inside of a monogamous or a committed relationship and got an STD from the person that they was in a relationship with. And people say you're less likely to get an STD or something like that inside of a monogamous relationship. And honestly, I feel like at this point, regardless to whether you have three people that you are inside of a relationship with, like say for instance, it's you and two other people, and you decided to be in a committed relationship like poly people do, or you decide to be in a committed relationship that's monogamous with someone who is promiscuous, you have the exact same risk. You understand? It's like it's not any riskier if you're dealing with somebody who moves a specific type of way, but verbally behaves as if they don't act that way, like their actions don't match what they say, that's more dangerous. Like being in a monogamous relationship with someone who lies to you is more dangerous than you being in a poly situation where everybody's keeping it a buck and trying to keep each other healthy. Like one thing about the poly lifestyle that I wanted to just like keep pushing, when I was speaking about it a couple of years ago, I started talking about polyamorous relationships in my book, Unicorn Atlanta, that I'm struggling to write over because of who introduced me to the polyamorous lifestyle. And what I wanted everybody to understand about that lifestyle is that protection, oh my God, protection and going to the doctors and making sure that you're healthy is important inside of that community. That's one of the pillars of that community. It's the most important thing, like keeping each other safe, caring about one another. Polyamory isn't about promiscuously sleeping around with people and not catching feelings. That's promiscuous. Polyamory people care about each other. A friendship is built. Love is there, respect is there. It's just more than one person in the situation. And again, a lot of people can't handle that because they're insecure, they're jealous, they're irresponsible, they don't care, whether they have STDs or the person that they're dating has STDs. Some people just jump from place to place to place, to person to person to person without even thinking. And these are monogamous people that are doing that and cheating. Like, how many times are we on social media? Like, how many times you're on social media, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram, and you see somebody complaining about how they got cheated on by X, Y, and Z person? Because cheating is a common thing that people do inside of monogamous relationships. It's very difficult for people to get inside of a monogamous situation and be that way for an extended amount of time without them wanting or having interest in someone else. And this is where the conversation of discipline comes into play. Because if you are, in fact, a disciplined type of person, you're not going to want to be with a whole bunch of people anyway. Even in a polyamorous situation, you have disciplined people where they just like two of those people, and those two people, they're all faithful and committed to each other. You know what I mean? Like, it's still discipline in the poly lifestyle. It's just a different form of discipline. There's a difference between polyamory and promiscuity. Promiscuity is a lack of discipline. Okay. And I think a lot of people think the reason why people want to be poly is just so they can sleep around with a whole bunch of people. No, because you value people, and I don't know if you know this if you're listening to me, but you ever notice that when you get inside of a sexual like interaction with somebody, that it feels a lot better when you're emotionally connected to them? Like when you're not connected to them emotionally, isn't it difficult for you to have like a good sexual experience, like truly? Because it's like it feels good, but it doesn't feel good to the degree it would if you love the person that you was having sex with. Like a lot of people have casual sex. Yeah, it feel good. Yeah, it's just an activity like jogging or a salutation for a lot of people that are on Tinder. Yeah, it's like that for, when it's a general thing that you're doing. But when you attach how you feel, like once you fall in love with somebody and you make love, it's very different. It's two different types of things. But I believe that a lot of people can't, if they have like an interaction with someone and they're making love with that person, it's like I can't imagine making love to somebody else. And that's how I felt in my last relationship. Like, again, I can be poly, right? But I have to be poly from the beginning. I can't be inside of a monogamous relationship and put my features on monogamous and then turn around in the middle of that monogamous relationship and say, hey, let's be poly. No, because once I've, built that connection with a person, I can't like step outside of that. It's like I can't explain that. And I'm gonna try to find like some analogies and shit to be able to explain how a difference it is, because it's a different type of state of being. Like when you are in a poly relationship and you agree to being inside of a poly relationship, the arrangement is different. You have to come in with a different level of confidence. You can't be insecure, you can't be jealous, you can't be lying, you can't be you can't do that inside of a poly situation. You can't like tack ownership of a person on top of being poly. You understand? Like, let me see. Monogamy, when I'm in a monogamous relationship, I have my mind set on, okay, it's just me and this person. In monogamous relationships, other types of things can be built. Like I cannot be start a family with somebody that I'm in a polyamorous relationship with. That's too confusing to me to teach children. It doesn't mean that other people haven't chose to teach their children that, or that other people can't teach their children that. It's just I don't want that type of arrangement when I'm raising children. So if I'm going to be in a polyamorous situation, I'm going to avoid being pregnant. I'm going to avoid, talking about marriage. Those are not things that, I'm comfortable with doing. But it's plenty of people who are in the polyamorous lifestyle or who are polygamous and they are comfortable with that. Everybody has their limitations and things that they wouldn't do. And so in a monogamous relationship, I feel like to me, that's more you leaning towards being married or having children and, having a nuclear, real vanilla situation. Poly is not that. It's untraditional. It's a different way to handle things. Things could get very complicated if you have children. Now, I'm only saying that because I've never like experienced being poly and having children in that type of situation. But there are plenty of people that have done that. And a lot of people I've grown up with have said, hey, that's how I grew up. You know what I mean? Like I grew up and my parents were poly, or my parents had an open marriage, or, and even then some of their relationships were very, very healthy. I think a lot of people think the term poly and they just can't believe that anything that it can't be dramatic, that it won't be dramatic. Honestly, all relationships can get complicated at some point. Like a monogamous one, definitely, because a lot of people in a monogamous relationship, the stress of that relationship, you don't get any relief from it sometimes because you're kind of stuck up under each other. You don't get a break. In a three-person situation, it's different because it's like you are in the relationship, it's three people there. When one person is kind of like giving you grief a little bit, you can talk to the other person, and it's not a problem that you're talking to another person about it because that person is inside of the relationship as well. A lot of times in monogamous relationships, the reason why somebody starts cheating on somebody else to begin with is because they're having some issues inside of their relationship, and instead of turning to God or a therapist or something like that, they decide to turn to a single person that they seen, or somebody at their job that they start talking to them about their relationship, and that's how cheating usually starts. Like someone's sick of the partner that they're with, and they go and find somebody else to talk to about it. In a polyamorous relationship, y'all can lean on each other for something like that. And again, I don't know if I said this, and I'm saying again in the live stream, but I know I've had to say this on social media at some point. Poly relationships are not for everybody. This live stream isn't to sit here and try to convince the world to be poly. Do what you want to do, whatever fits you, whatever fits your personality, whatever movements you make, just be honest about it. That's the thing. The honesty is what's hurting people. The dishonesty, I'm sorry, is what's hurting people. Like you go behind somebody's back and you do all of these terrible things to them. That's what ends up making people upset. Hey, insatiable 747, what it is. So I think that, again, it's not for everybody. Some people can't handle it. And just be honest with yourself about not being able to handle it, whether it's monogamous or polyamorous. If you can't handle being monogamous and you want to be out there in these streets with other people, keep it a buck. Say that. That might be disgusting to a person who's monogamous, you know, but it's not going to be disgusting to a person who is promiscuous or a person who's polyamorous. That's going to be, it's just like you a heterosexual person, right? If you heterosexual, you're going to look at somebody who's homosexual and be like, ew, how could you do that? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with mayonnaise. It's like, listen, I don't like mayonnaise. I think mayonnaise is so fucking nasty. How are you eating it? That and coleslaw. Like, that is disgusting. You're doing that. So it's the same thing. It's like each preference that people have or each arrangement that you have, there's gonna be somebody out there that turn their nose up at your arrangement or um your what choice that you made. And as far as spirituality goes, inside of all of this, having you can have poor spiritual hygiene inside of a monogamous relationship, not just a polyamorous one, because having poor spiritual hygiene just means that you're dealing with someone who, number one, they don't have their spirit together, or it's you not having your own spirit together, not listening to your own energy, not knowing how to meditate and pray, not knowing how to do any of that. And the post that I posted last night on Instagram, I was talking about how people, when I said I was polyamorous a couple of years back, people were like, how could you be a woman of God? You know, like, you're not a child of God. And they would call me all of these names, the whole slut, Jezebel, whatever, right? And I was being called all of these names, like poly relationships or marriages wasn't in the Bible. Because you have to think about this. If you are a Christian, right? Let's talk about the Bible from a realistic perspective. Whether we're talking about the Old Testament or the New Testament doesn't matter, okay? Because I know people, the New Testament is supposedly you can't do anything that was in the Old Testament. But then again, everybody's doing whatever they want to do, whether they're Christian or not, because there's no way you can follow every single scripture inside of a Bible. So anyway, um, people tend to forget that King Solomon had a shit ton of wives and concubines. And he wasn't the only one. Esau had a whole bunch of wives. David had a whole bunch of wives, and I can go on and on and on and talk about how at some point, in order for them to have all of those wives, these women had to feel comfortable with being poly. Like, it's no way a king could have 300 wives, and the world knows this, but the 300 wives don't. So, being as though the Bible is outdated and sometimes it's contradictory to some other people. So, because to me, I say following the Bible is kind of off because the Bible was written for a different set of people in a different day and age. So, trying to apply it to this era we live in now, it's kind of a moot point because it's like they didn't have internet, they didn't have social media, they didn't have the you know what I mean? They didn't have the things that we have now that have changed the nature of relationships. So when you're looking at a scripture that's so outdated as the scriptures that's inside of the Bible, it's like, how can you still apply all of that stuff to your life? Number one, okay, whether we're talking about polyamorous relationships or people are not supposed to have polyamorous relationships, whatever your argument is as far as that goes, listening to the Bible and applying all of it to your life right now is extremely complicated for every single person. Every single person. So if you're a Christian, definitely, if you're trying to follow, just be a non-sinner or somebody that doesn't commit sin is difficult. It's just extremely, I think it's always been difficult. But for the most part, what I've noticed is, as I was talking about polyamory, a lot of people will bring up God as if God, would turn, God's nose up at me being polyamorous. And I'm like, I think God might have some other stuff to be worried about, but I don't think that people understand the concept of not judging other people, because that's part of the Bible as well. Like, you're not supposed to be looking at someone's sexual preference and turning your nose at them, period. Because at the end of the day, that's one of the rules inside of your Bible. God is the only one that judges, not you, not your Aunt Pam, not your cousin. You can't look over at, some girl you work with, or some dude you met in the mall, and him cheating on his wife, or her sleeping around with a whole bunch of people. You're not supposed, as a Christian or someone who follows the Bible, you're not supposed to look at that person and turn your nose up at that person, period, regardless. But people overlook that. People overlook, regardless of what religion that you have, people tend to look over the act of kindness that we're supposed to have with that religion, you know? And you're right, it is impossible not to sin. It's completely impossible not to sin, or not to, like, it's, there's no person on this planet that has just never sinned. And even the Bible says that is gonna, be no person that doesn't sin. So it's just like, I don't understand why people use the Bible as a tool to degrade or disrespect somebody. Oh shit. Earthquake. Hold up. Earthquake. So I don't understand. Whoa. Okay. I don't understand how people can commit the crime of judging someone else and just still think that they're self-righteous and still think they're holier than thou. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I just can't, I don't know. I just don't understand how that, is even a thing. But I think as far as connections go, like spiritual connection, oh my God, there's another one. Okay, as far as spiritual connections go, it's like, this is really, hold up. Okay, usually when, first of all, earthquakes happen here in California all the time, right? They happen so much you get used to them, because they just happen for a couple of minutes and then they go away. Like, sometimes they happen for a couple of minutes and then a break, and then another one comes, like maybe an aftershock or something like that. And I just had two aftershocks of the first quake I felt, which is interesting. It wasn't as bad as, unusual as like some of the other ones I felt, because some of the other ones, it shakes a lot faster. This one was kind of a slow quake, you know what I mean? Anyway, I started talking about earthquakes in the middle of it, but I'm having one, so that's why I was like, whoa. Okay, so anyway, spiritually connected someone, having a soul tie with someone is kind of dangerous, right? And you can accidentally have a soul tie with someone that you're just casually having sex with, and you can have a soul tie inside of a monogamous relationship. You could have a soul tie inside of a polyamorous relationship. All soul ties, even if it's just a friendship one and isn't romantic, can be dangerous. That's why have to be selective about not just who you sleep with or who you have a monogamous relationship, but also who you have a polyamorous relationship with, or who you have a friendship with. Because soul ties can definitely, like, be difficult to break. And I talked about that on my YouTube channel many years. And if you look at my YouTube channel right now, and I know some of people are listening to me on Facebook, if you look at my YouTube channel right now, I have scheduled a couple of videos starting next year. I've started scheduling my YouTube channel to live stream and post. Okay, so if you see like a lot of like stuff just as premieres, it's because I'm scheduling all of my content for next year, because I have so much content. Like, that's what people don't realize about me. I have so much content, and a lot of it is privatized on YouTube. Like, a lot of it I just put on private because I wanted people to look at my newer content. So the old content that I had that's privatized on my YouTube channel, I'm going to live stream all next year. And that's how much content I have. I'm gonna live stream it, but I'm also going to, upload new content at the same time. So my old content and my new content will be playing simultaneously on my YouTube channel. So if you look on my YouTube channel and you see like a shit ton of premieres, because I know people was like, why does she have so many premieres? Because I have a premiere for every day of the month in January and not just one premiere. It's like at least 20 premieres a day on in the month of January alone. And I started like scheduling it like sometime last week. And it's taking a moment because I got to sit down and I got to program and I got to do it. Just like when you see me post on Instagram sometimes or even on Facebook, a lot of times that's my bot doing it. Because when I had a social media manager, it was like one of the biggest mistakes I ever made as far as, being a content creator. I will never get a social media manager again. Or if I get one, I'm going to keep them at arm's length. I'm never going to give them passwords to my stuff because giving people passwords to my stuff messed me up before. So now I just use like Buffer or Hootsuite or something like that. Canva has it too. Canva has it to where you can, Canva.com, right? They can schedule your stuff too. Now I think Canva's expensive. You know what I mean? Buffer's not cheap, but Canva is a little bit more expensive. So anyway, um, I am like scheduling everything so I can have more free time with my son. I'm just scheduling things ahead of time. So if you see that, that's just a heads up on that. Okay. I love your content, but I already know someone's going to call me a simp for liking your videos. I noticed that a lot of men on YouTube, it's a very toxic environment for men on YouTube. And I honestly believe that because a lot of the men who are bitter or hurt by women are teaching you false narratives about how to deal with women. And it's putting you in a more misogynistic or negative place with women, and it'll keep you away from women. Now, it's nothing wrong with you liking a video. Like, people like stuff all of the time. I don't know why people will call you a simp, but that's what they do. And I know what you're saying is accurate because they feel like if you like anything a woman does, especially if it's Soncerae, you are definitely a simp. You know what I mean? But to me, simping is if you was trying to get at me and I rejected you and you kept trying. That's simping to me. Like liking my video ain't nothing. That's not simping. You know what I mean? But a lot of men are gonna try to make you feel like it is. And I appreciate you saying that you like my videos anyway, and that makes you more manly than these other men who call you simps. I promise you that. Because being able to keep it funky and keep it a buck is something a lot of these men can't do, especially a lot of male content creators on YouTube. Like they do not know how to keep it a buck whatsoever. It's like if I've never seen so many men fake the funk. It's more men, like it's better men on platforms like TikTok and Instagram who are content creators who will keep it a buck with you about how they're dealing with women. Too many times toxic masculinity is being taught on YouTube. And so it's been difficult for me with having such a male audience. Like I had a big male audience. And I have 45,000 subscribers and I had a big male audience. And now it's even difficult to get those same men to watch me unless I'm saying something negative about a black man. I mean about a black woman. If I start talking about negatively anything that has to do with the female collective, men will watch my content. But the second I start trying to hold men accountable for the things that they do, they overlook it. And I noticed that. And so anyway, I'm not sure what my experiment of live streaming 24/7 on my channel is going to do because it's an experiment. It's something new. It's something I've never done. Like I've tried a lot of different things on YouTube to try to get people to watch my content or to get my subscribers to see my content. I've tried a lot of different strategies. And this new strategy that I'm doing where I'm live streaming, it's a channel. I can live stream 24/7. I have so much content. Think about this. I've been doing YouTube since like 2008. Do you realize how much content I have? Just and a lot of people don't know. So between that and me doing the content for TikTok and doing new stuff that I'm doing now, I'll always have material to post. So it was like, why don't I just program my channel to live stream all the time? I have enough content to do that. So I think with that strategy, it may get more people to watch my content because I've been very lazy and inconsistent with my YouTube channel. I'm not gonna front. Like like struggling with this shit. Like I mean, I'm a content creator. I'm supposed to be on top of it. The consistency is how you manifest success. You believing in who you are and having the originality. And I feel like for many years, I felt uncomfortable with being myself. Like I showed people a real version of myself, but at the same time, it was a lot of things I didn't share. You know, I listen to a lot of guys on YouTube, but at the end of the day, I follow my own mind because I'm a leader, not a follower. I know that's right. Do your own goddamn thing. Do your own thing. Honestly, I feel like even with me being a life coach, right? And I coach people and I give people advice and I try to help people, you know, be clear. That's all I'm trying to do. It's like help people be clear about what they want and start headed in the direction of what they want and who they want to be. Because there's too many people confused and wasting too much time on the wrong stuff. So life coaching has actually been and being a dating coach has been like extremely, I don't know, it's difficult because I want for people to be whoever it is they want to be, whether it's monogamous relationship or not. But then you got these generalizations and ideologies that people believe in that makes it difficult for me to give people certain advice because they're indoctrinated so much. Like you got to empty your cup. Like if you work with somebody like me, right? If you listen to somebody like me, number one, you got to empty your cup, right? So you can get what I'm saying, number one. And to enjoy me is one thing, and to apply what I'm saying is another. And at the end of the day, you still get to choose whether you apply what I'm saying to you to your life. And a lot of people don't think like that when they're following the lead of someone else. Like I encourage people to be an individual. Even though I have a tribe of people, I call them the high society, the echelon. That's what I call them, right? I may not call y'all that out loud often, but in my mind, that's what I call y'all. Okay, whoever's following me, who's ever listening to me, I call y'all the high society when I'm talking to myself. So now I think I should start verbalizing that that's what I call y'all, because I really, because I wasn't doing that for a long time. I didn't name my followers because I think that the reason why I didn't do it is because I couldn't think of a name to call people that I wanted to be individuals. You know what I mean? Like how do you have a cult like following if you encourage everybody to be an individual? That's how these people who have a shit ton of people following them, they kind of have a cult like situation going on, and I didn't want to be a cult leader. So I was like, listen, I'm gonna need for you to be an individual. So I think for a long time I didn't name the people that like watch me all the time. Um, I try to tell the truth. I do try to tell the truth as much as I can without um, breaking my own privacy. And I think a lot of people are not used to people being honest about who they are as a person. Because people used to be like, Soncerae, you overshare, you tell people too much information. Well, no, because it's so, to me, let me tell you my perspective of this. To me, it's so many things happening in my life that are extremely private that I can't tell the world, right? But the things that I can tell, I don't consider them private. Because to me, there's a difference between like privacy and secrecy and some stuff that's just general information. Like some stuff that I don't mind you knowing, even if you criticize me about it. Because at the end of the day, if you're criticizing me about it, if it's constructive, it's going to help me. If you're criticizing me because you just genuinely just don't like me, that's your own personal problem. So I shouldn't be listening to nothing you say at the end of the day. I am a leader, so I'm going to make my own decision. I have to lead by example. So I have to say to people, listen, if I meet someone, right, and I hear all of these other people saying negative things about that person, I'm not going to believe those other people. I'm going to believe the experience that I have with that person. That's what a leader does. Like, You could give me like some type of warning about a person, and I might take heed, and have a different strategy when dealing with that person. But for the most part, I try not to listen to the masses, because when you listen to the masses, a lot of times they're sheeple. They're following behind some stuff that just be following it. When people follow me, I want for what I'm saying to them to be of value to their life. It's a difference between everybody just paying me attention because I'm entertaining and funny, versus the things that I'm saying is adding value to their life, their lifestyle, what they want to do with their life. Am I motivating them? Am I encouraging them to have a level of discipline? Like, what could I genuinely do for the people who listen to me? If it was just about me getting attention from you guys, oh, that will be easy. I could just pull out my tatas. You see my tatas hella big. All I got to do is get butt naked on OnlyFans if I want some damn attention. You know what I mean? But for the most part, when I'm on YouTube and I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram and I'm out here talking to the general public about, life, I try to keep it a buck, and I try not to make y'all like little minions. You know what I mean? Like little, like people be having little minions to go do stuff. I don't have that. I don't think I've ever had that. You know? Oh my God. Never tell anyone everything, even family members. That is so true. My family, let me tell you something about my family. And this is like general knowledge. People know this because I've said this before. I don't associate with my family often. And the reason why is because how they handle situations doesn't it's not healthy, right? How they handle, even publicly, they don't know how to handle situations where maybe it's conflicts or challenges or traumas, or they just don't know how to handle those things, and I do. So instead of me like being around them and feeling uncomfortable, I rather distance myself from them, because apparently the way that I handle things is different from them. So I need to exclude myself from them because they feel like the way that they behave is normal, and I don't. And so I realized when the rumor that I supposedly committed suicide, remember everybody heard about that rumor. The way that my distant family handled it was weird to me, because I hadn't seen a lot of my family in like 20 years. I hadn't seen my family in such a long time because I purposely disconnected from them because of a lot of trauma and drama. I didn't disrespect them. I was very cordial when I saw them, but for the most part, I kept my distance because of the trauma and drama associated with them. So when the rumor spread that I committed suicide and people started interacting with my family, the way that my family handled it publicly was weird, because it was like negative. The things that they said about me was negative. Now, had the shoe been on the other foot, as me being one of their relatives, let's just say my cousin or my aunt or my mother or father had a rumor spread about them, and those people are public figures, right? So everybody knows them, and this is a hypothetical story. Let's say that was the case. Let's say one of my relatives was quote unquote a celebrity or popular on social media or something like that, right? And I haven't seen this relative in years. I haven't talked to this relative. I don't call this relative. I don't, the relative don't call me, nothing. When someone comes to me about that relative, my first response is going to be, could you give my family member a little bit of privacy when it comes to dealing with their life? I'm not sure what's happening over there because I haven't communicated with her, but I'm sure it's a private matter inside of our family. That's not how my family handled that shit at all. My family acted like fucking buffoons on public, in public, and it was weird to me. It was just like, what? And when I think about that, how they didn't have my back, they didn't say anything appropriate. They didn't say, well, I'm just minding my business, because I would have been like, I'm minding my business. I don't know nothing about that. I'm minding my business. I'm not gonna do no interviews about my relative. Nothing. Nothing. even after all of these years, like I started talking about my family in detail when the rumor about me committing suicide came out. Before that, I would talk about how I wasn't connected to my family, but I never spoke in detail why. I never talked about my family. I never said, oh, my cousin this or my aunt that, and told like these major stories about my family. I stayed away from that because I wanted my family to have a level of privacy. I know the difference between being private and telling my business versus telling theirs. Because see, my business belongs to me. I can tell it to the world if that's what I want to do. If I want to tell y'all every secret I have, that's what I'm going to do. And you don't have to like it. You don't have to listen to me. You know what I mean? But other people's business, I don't really like telling. Like I'll tell, like people can tell me their secrets. I know so many secrets about people. I try not to say anything about them, and their private life. But I notice anytime somebody is like, let me say, anytime somebody does something out of pocket to me, and I lose all respect for them as a person, I treat them very different. Like if you hear me speak negatively publicly about somebody, it's because of something that they did that was so bad that I've lost all respect for them, and it's no salvaging the situation. Plenty of people have done horrible things to me. I've done, inconsiderate things to people, just the regular average stuff that we do to each other every day because we're human beings. We've all done that to each other, right? I've done it, you know, but to do something so snake-like and terrible, the level of betrayal that some people have, done, I have publicly spoken about them. If you hear me publicly speak about somebody, they have done some terrible shit to me. And it has nothing to do with their personal life or their private life. It has more to do with me and how um, I'm dealing with whatever it is that they've done. And a lot of people don't like to be called out on their bullshit. And I've noticed that a lot of people can't stand that. People call me out on bullshit all day. You know what I mean? People will listen to what I'm saying, turn that shit into whatever it is that they want it to be, and claim I'm bullshitting, right? And so I'll have to reiterate or re-explain some shit I just explained for someone to understand. Oh, I'm not bullshitting you. I don't bullshit people. I don't bullshit people because I'm not afraid of people. I think people think they have to be afraid of what other people think. I don't feel that way because I feel like we're all human beings. We're all in this together. We're all doing fuck shit. We're all doing nice shit. We're all doing, and the only thing that I can do is teach people how to be a better version of themselves like I'm doing for me. You know what I mean? Like I'm such a nice person, right? And for years I had to hide that nice person because so many people were like walking over me. Like I had to like be mean. And I kept saying, and I used to tell my mother this all the time. I used to be like, I hate being inside of the entertainment industry because being inside of the entertainment industry, I have to handle a lot of business with men. And men tend to be extremely disrespectful to women inside of the entertainment industry. And I hate that I have to step out of pocket and not be as nice as I usually am just so I can do some interaction with a man business wise. I was like, I hate it. That's the one thing I hate. And especially in Atlanta, because during that time, Atlanta didn't have any real structure. I don't know how Atlanta is now. I ain't been there in 4 years. But handling business in Atlanta was terrible to me because during that time, Black people didn't have a structure or a level of respect for one another to keep their word. A lot of people didn't want to pay for anything, and it's just like you want everything free. How is the money circulating through the city if no one is paying for anything? If everything is free, everything has to cost. That's the only way. The only time you're going to be able to get to a position of where you have money, you're making money, is if you get inside the economy, where you sell commerce, whether everything is about buying and selling. So if you're in a place where business is supposedly popping, but nobody is wanting to pay for anything. How is that lucrative for my business? So in Atlanta, it was like I was struggling. I was just like, gee, Jesus Christ, relationships in Atlanta terrible. Business was terrible in Atlanta, and I was just like, whatever. Like I'm so over this shit. I was like that clip of Jay-Z at Summerfest when you know that clip of Jay-Z at Summerfest where he was like had this straight face and David Dash was in the mic talking about something. It's the Rock, you bastards, right? And Jay-Z was just sitting there like, oh, like he looked so tired of the shit. And Memphis Bleak was in the same clip. I know y'all gotta know what I'm talking about. It should be up on my Instagram stories. I put it up in my Instagram story. Because Jay-Z had this look on his face like, I'm tired of this fuck shit. Or on 100, I'm so tired of this. So anyway, so that's how it was with Atlanta. That was the look on my face with Atlanta because I was like, ugh. And now, even though I look at Atlanta from a distance and I see people, handling business, doing their thing, to me, Atlanta is one of the worst places to handle business. I'm sorry. I don't know why else after what I've just listed, but it just is to me. It just is. It's terrible to have a spirituality there. Cause see, there's a church on every corner, right? There's a church everywhere. And I've never been to a place where it was just church everywhere. But then at the same time, across the street, it's a strip club and a damn insurrection, smoke shop, liquor store in the same vicinity of the church. I've just never, I don't know. I feel like maybe when you have a building that's a spiritual building or a religious building, the land that it's on needs to be kind of sacred and spiritual itself. So if you have a church and then next to it is a liquor store, it's kind of like, what? That don't go together. That don't go together at all. But then again, that's just my thought process. And I guess I need to be a little bit more open minded about shit. I think I think that a lot of people feel some type of way about me talking about celibacy too, because I was talking about. Remember when I said in the live stream that I was programming my videos so that next year they can premiere all year? And as I was programming those videos, you can see like a page. There's a landing page that YouTube creates for those videos. And so people can go onto those videos and start having a conversation. And somebody came into the comment section and was like, how am I supposed to take you seriously with your boobs hanging out? Like, how are you sitting here talking about celibacy and then you have your boobs all in my was like, I see what you mean, but just because I'm celibate doesn't mean I'm not sexy. Like a lot of people be like, how are you celibate and sexy? How does that go together? I mean, well, I'm just that. You know what I mean? I'm just a sexy person. And I've always felt comfortable with my sexuality, even when I'm being celibate. You know what I mean? And I do feel like my breasts are just big, so you're gonna see them anyway. I got some Dolly Parton shit. Shit's big. Like I got some big ones, and I just feel like even when I lose weight, like I am 220 right now, which is overweight for me because I'm used to being 145. And so even when I lose the weight, and I'm trying, I really am. That's like a whole nother thing. Like it's so difficult for me to find something to eat. Like, let me explain. Let me explain. Let me explain. When I lose weight, my breasts are still big. Before I continue, when I lose weight, my breasts are still big. So I'm having a difficult time finding something to eat because every single thing that we eat, there's something I can Google that they say that's wrong for you to eat it. I try, of course, I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, especially spinach. I love spinach. So, spinach and broccoli, I do. And I usually eat a piece of fish. Now, if you've been following me on Facebook, you know I had a terrible thing happen to me over the weekend where a fish bone got stuck in my throat and I couldn't get it out. And it almost damn, I was like, oh my God, I tried everything. People was like, try eating a piece of bread, like a big chunk of bread. It was like, dip the bread in some water, dip the bread in some milk. Some people was like, try drinking something acidic like some soda, or drink some apple cider vinegar. Some people was like, drink olive oil, eat marshmallows, eat peanut butter, eat. I was like, oh my God. So I went out and ordered all of that stuff because I didn't have it in my house. I went and ordered all of that stuff and had it DoorDash to me. So I have a DoorDash to me, and after I tried all of that stuff, I think the only thing that got that fishbone out was my body. My body just randomly got the fishbone out on its own when I went to sleep, because I tried all of those things. I think the peanut butter made the bone go down a little bit to the bottom of my throat, because it was like kind of at the top on the right. And then once I put the peanut butter on the piece of bread and I swallowed the peanut butter, I made sure it was a lot of peanut butter on it too. I dumped like a shit ton of peanut butter on top of it. And I swallowed it. It kind of pushed it down. But at the end of the day, my body just naturally took care of it. Like my body just was like, listen, this is what I need to do. Boop. And it just did what it did, and it got it out. You know, it got it out. But thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you still, because I do see you comment all of the time. I appreciate you coming in my comments and being positive. I appreciate everybody that comes inside of my comment section and has something valuable to bring to it, not just insults and trolling and all of that goofy stuff that a lot of people like to post. I do appreciate you coming here and just being like regular, being yourself. A lot of people don't do that. They come in and they just weird, and I do appreciate you also verbalizing your comfortability with being a friend and a follower and a supporter. Well, not a follower, because you said you're a leader, so we're just going to call you a supporter. I appreciate you saying that anyway, because in the past, people who have been like, "Oh, I'm a supporter of yours," people have come for their person, and that person got weak and was like, "I can't do this anymore. They're trolling me, they're bullying me," And I was just like, "Okay, fine, I understand." Like I used to have this moderator. Her name was Bruna. She was trans, and people just kept messing with her, and I was like, "Why do y'all keep bothering this girl? This girl." Just, like, just supports me. That's it. Trying to ruin her real life is just out of this world. I don't know why people would try to do that, but that's why I kind of stay away from YouTube a little bit. So anyway, as far as poly relationships go and spiritual hygiene goes, if you cannot handle a polyamorous relationship, don't think you can try it to save your relationship. Because some girls be like, I'm gonna have a threesome and help my, it's gonna help my relationship. That's a negative. Being poly is a lifestyle. It comes with you having a specific type of personality. If you want to hear me later on Clubhouse, I'm going to be on Michael Basin's show live on his Clubhouse today at 7 o'clock. So y'all can hear me and Michael Basin. If you don't know who Michael Basin is, he used to be the first relationship person on the radio. He used to do like relationship coaching. He was one of the first. He was one of like the pioneers of I want to talk about relationships, and that's who I am. And I have a radio show and boop da boop da boop. So that's where I'll be later on today. Tune into Michael Basin's live on Clubhouse. The link should be in, where should the link be? Just go to Michael Basin's page on Facebook if you want to check it out. And I'll be on there later on today. And that's 7 p.m. PST time, because me and Michael Basin in California. Y'all are on the East Coast. If you're on the East Coast, I think it's 10 o'clock, right? Ain't it 10? When it's 7 o'clock in PST, isn't it 10 o'clock on the East Coast? Something like that. I don't know. Y'all got to figure that out on your own. I don't know. All I know is to be 7 p.m. PST. That's all I know. Anyway, I gotta go, y'all. Have vision and stay focused, and make sure you thumbs up and share. Thumbs up and share. I cannot reiterate that enough, because I'm really trying to rebuild my channel back and build the consistency and keep going. And I wanted to quit for a little while. I took a little break, and now I'm coming back. Okay. Also, my mother has breast cancer. I know I don't talk about that a lot, but it would be nice if you could donate to my mother. She has a GoFundMe up. You can go to tinyurl.com/Kathy's Fight. My mother's name is spelled Kathie. So it's Kathiesfight. Kathy's Fight. Or she has a cash app, which is $ Cats Touch. Katstouch. Please send her donations. We still have cancer treatment to pay for, medicines to pay for. She just finished. No, her last chemotherapy session is next week, and then after that she starts radiation. She's not doing as well as I would like her to do physically. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't have any energy. Sometimes I feel bad about leaving my son with her because I have to go work, so I got to leave my son with her sometimes, and so I work part-time, go to work, and I come back because I can't have my mother watching my son for 8 hours. I just can't. My mother can only watch my son 4 hours at a time, if that much. So it's kind of difficult. It has been difficult for me to take care of her, my son, and my daughter is here, and myself, and still juggle my businesses the same way and still work. It's just been extremely strenuous on me. And I'm telling you, I've had some severely stressful moments, man. Like, so you know how difficult it is. You lost both of your parents to cancer. I'm sorry about that. But when you see your parents like deteriorating, and I know that's a bad term to use, but that's what I see, and I kind of hate that I have to watch it. Like, here's my thing: when your parents are like older, at some point they're gonna pass away, right? You know this, but it's like to see it gradually happening, and I get scared for her. Like, sometimes I'm scared I'm gonna be gone for the little 4 hours I'm gone, and I'm gonna come back and she's gonna be gone. That's how scared I am. But at the same time, it's like, I don't think she's that bad. But then again, you never know with cancer. Like, chemotherapy is about destroying your body cells. So it's basically killing her, right? She doesn't have any hair. Her nails are black. Her face, like, her face wasn't bad before, but her face is like puffy. Like, she looks like kind of how a snowman would look, or like the Michelin man is puffed out. Her hands are swollen, and I'm trying to figure out why she's so swollen, right? She's barely eating anything. She's laying around all of the time. Sometimes I can get a laugh out of her, but for the most part, she's mean, because she gets cancer. She doesn't feel good. She's nauseous all of the time. She's like, it's just bad to see her that way because she's usually like clapping and dancing and laughing. And to see her not be like that, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, and it's bad because I'm taking care of her by myself. It's nobody here in California helping me take care of my mom. My mom will get on the phone with her siblings and stuff, and they'll talk. But out of all of her siblings, she has 8 siblings. Out of all of her siblings, only one of her siblings calls every day. None of her siblings have come to visit. She has another daughter. Her other daughter has not come to visit her. And that hurts me. You know what I mean? Like, it hurts me that my own sister hasn't come to see my mother. And I know that my sister and my mother, I think they talk every day, but my sister hasn't come to see my mother. And my mother got diagnosed with cancer in May, and it's December. And so that stress a little bit bothers me. I talk about it to her. I tell her, and it just bugs me because it's just like, I'm stressed already. You know what I mean? Just I have a 3-year old. That right there is like, what? I have a 3-year old that I take care of by myself, right? And then I have to work as well and handle my business and do all of this work on social media. And it's just so much. Do graphic design work. And then sometimes I'm driving Uber. Sometimes I'm doing DoorDash. And it's not even I I wish I could explain it because it's not about not having any money. We have money. But the thing is, cancer is so damn expensive. Like, on top of all of the other stuff that I have to pay for, it's like I got to work extra overtime to make more money to be able to take care of my mom too. And that is like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be over here like, oh my God. Like, cancer is a trip. Like, taking care of your parents and just taking care of your parents if they're like, have the natural um, things that happen to their body. Like, maybe they have diabetes, high blood pressure. My mother has those. So, not only does my mother have cancer, she has diabetes and high blood pressure. Imagine how I got to keep an eagle eye on my mother. I don't sleep often. Like, I sleep in hour and 30-minute increments. And when I am home, let's say I'm not working and I'm home all day. If I try to take a nap in the middle of the nap, my son's waking me up, my mom's waking me up, my daughter's waking me up. I never sleep. And just recently I got really, really sick. I don't talk about when I get sick often because it's just like, you guys don't want to hear that. Like, that's not interesting. Like, a lot of y'all don't want to hear a lot of stuff, but you definitely don't want to hear me talk about how I don't feel good. So last week, I don't know how I managed to do all of the social media stuff I do when I don't feel good. Because a lot of times, you see me in a video, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. At TikTok, I'm being funny, I'm laughing, I don't feel good. So what was happening was, because I'm not getting any sleep, right? I turn around and I have a cup of coffee or energy drink, right? And when I drink a cup of coffee and energy drink and I like rotate them for a week or so, I am sick for the rest of the month. And the way that I get sick is headaches, migraines, nausea, my entire body hurts. And my headaches really be doing it. Like, can you imagine having a headache every day? But then if I don't drink any caffeine, like I haven't had any caffeine in a week, I feel fine, but at the same time I get tired. Like, I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can't be sleep because I have to take care of my mom, take care of my son, juggle my businesses, juggle my social media. Go do It's just so much. So much. And I just wish that I had more help. So I pray for help all of the time. I ask God to send me more help, send me more people, send me more donations, send me more something to help me with my mother. Because my mother, trying to take care of my mother and my 3-year old, and I have a 21-year old, and myself, and my dog, and my car, and all of my bills, and my mortgage, stuff like that. And my, come on, man, I'm like juggling. Oh, that's a lot of pressure. And Mark is there for me a lot. Like, a lot of times when I'm about to break, I hit up Mark. I'll be like, Mark, listen, I'm about to lose my mind. Like, I cannot juggle all of this. And he's like, it's okay. It'll be over. And then my mother be like, it'll be over soon. Don't worry about it. Oh, yeah, one more chemotherapy. I'm like, oh my God, one more chemotherapy? Then radiation? Oh, Lord. You know what I mean? That's not it. So, so hopefully, I don't know. So I guess what's happening to me, it wouldn't happen to me if I couldn't control it. Like, God would not put me in this situation if I couldn't handle it. So I've handled it so far, but oh my God, it's like, uh like, I can't even begin. But anyway, I gotta go, y'all. I gotta go. Have vision and stay focused. Namaste.